I will start by a disclaimer. There is a lot more to be said about risk management and strategies, and what I'm going to cover in today's seminar. This is mostly a seminar that is focused on those that are starting this road. You know, we will not speak about single failure mode and other things that testing people work so well upon. I must also thank Joy Stats that at one point helped me, or I actually helped her, I should say, in developing this class, and we presented it together partially at least. Some things have been changed and some things have been dropped at a conference in the year 2001, 2002. So what I'm going to cover is the first part is, taking focus on the business goals so that your risks become apparent in terms of what is it that is going to hurt the organization. And more than anything else, one of the things I will find is that it's the way the project is organized that raises risks for the for the testing group. We will discuss acceptance criteria. We will discuss selecting a testing life cycle to match the product's risk and the product schedule. We will say which are the possible strategies. We will exemplify a few of them. And I hope that you leave with the feeling that there is an approach to be taken that will minimize or mitigate risk. So, objectives: identify testing project risk and refine the plan to include mitigation and contingency activities. And we'll give you some examples of that. So, the process that I would like you to follow in your mind is, well, we need to clearly state testing goals and objectives, identify which are the risks with regard to product and project characteristics that are the ones that will be most damaging to your organization, the ones that give you the most exposure. And I'm going to work under the assumption that you're not a high maturity organization, that your organization is starting a road of improving its processes, and that one of the big things that happen almost in every project is that whatever the testing plan is, it's never performed in total. So you will not have time to do it all is the premise underlying this presentation. So in order for us to take a clearer look at how do I know that I've done what I was supposed to do, one of the things we're going to ask you to think about is which are the acceptance criteria for your testing activities. And these might change, but there are some that are some places in which this is going to be very important in setting your strategy right and making sure that you're mitigating risks. Selecting a testing life cycle to match the product's risks and the project schedule. And this happens because you might have to eliminate some of the activities, take a three-tiered approach to testing, move testing activities forward in the project plan. There might be so many things that you might want to do different that this is why we are speaking about a testing life cycle all by itself. So on the next slide, this is kind of a busy map, but what I'm trying to show you is that terms in testing are overloaded. There are three axes here. One is the timing. When is it that it happens? The vertical axis here is, as you read it from 0 up, it's the unit test, the integration test, the system test, the alpha test, the user acceptance test, the beta test. And usually these things are in that order in time. And they are performed against goals, and that will be the x-axis. And the x-axis says, okay, we're testing against the functionality. We're testing performance, we're testing integration, regression, volume, stress, usability. You can see integration is both a goal And also, it's a phase. So what happens in that phase might be more than just integration testing. If, for instance, you're also testing for functionality. And you got others: volume, stress, usability, string, readiness, error handling, configuration, memory leaks, data flow coverage, statement coverage, decision coverage, and path coverage. And finally, the y-axis is how the construction of the test is done. And you will have typically the black box testing and the crystal box testing, in which sometimes you might do both, as in integration is sometimes done that way. Also, string testing might be done that way, and it could be also done in integration. Sometimes that's the name people give to integration testing. So what happens that's different is that, for instance, crystal ball is the only thing that can apply for memory leaks through path coverage in our goals. The only reason I'm showing this is because I want to make sure first that we know that there are overloaded terms in testing, that people call different things by different names, that I might be talking about different phases mostly, and sometimes I will speak about goals and construction, but that black box testing is not a type of test. It's a type of construction. It's a way of construction of a test. Okay, so moving on, I want to show you my next slide. Go slide, which is about the V model. And this is because I want to come back to prerequisites at one point when I start setting the strategy. So the V model was created by Manny Lehman in, I think it was in Queen's University in London, but many years ago. And the idea is that you will produce a document, and this is, probably a lot of, it's pointed towards the waterfall model, but this document, once approved, would be the basis for building the specifications, the technical specification document. But also at that point, you are able to start planning and preparing your user acceptance test, because you could do it straight from the requirements document. There's no need to know how it's going to be built, because this would be the user's acceptance test. The user doesn't have to know how many layers you will have. They will have to know how, they would like to know, whether what they're doing is valid in their environment. So continuing with that V model, the acceptance of the technical specification will allow you to start coding, but also at that point you could start planning your system test and preparation. What happens when you finish coding is that there will be unit test having taken place, and your components are now tied together. Probably there is a handover to a team that would do the integration, and it would start from the acceptance of the different components that have been tested. And the test reports will then help you decide whether you're ready for the next step, which is a system test and the user's acceptance test. Oops, and it's called the V model for the shape it takes. You would have, at each point would have a phase end review that would actually make sure that the whole set of activities has been performed correctly. And in CMMI terms,